scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today it is Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. It's good to see all of you. I hope that you and yours are safe and well. Let's see who's here. Barbara, Daniel, nice to see you, my friend. Sending love to Chicago. Susie and Lydia, Tara and Bensi, good morning. Let's use here on Facebook, and then we will sing a bracha and get ready to do a little bit of learning today. Jonathan, Boker Tov, good to see you. Cecile, hi Karen. Valerie, yes, what a day. Rosa, Tzoraim Tovim, good to see you. Okay, let's take a breath. We'll sing a bracha. We'll learn some Torah. Hi Catherine, hi Mark. Yai lai 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 lai, diddy yai lai lai lai, diddy yai lai 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 lai, ai la lai lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu במצוותיו ציוונו לעסוק בדברי תורה, לעסוק בדברי תורה, הפוך בה והפוך בה, לעסוק בדברי תורה. Diddy I lie 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 lie, diddy I lie lie lie, diddy I lie 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 lie, I la lie lie. Good morning, friends. It's good to see all of you. Hope that you and yours are safe and well. Just repeating something that I just saw online. Today is one day since all the hostages came home. And so for us to be able to mark time quite differently, I'm glad to amplify what the Hostages and Missing Families Forum wrote for the first time, which is, we brought them home. Powerful, important, a moment in time. And speaking of time, this week's Parsha, Beshalach, tells us that the passage of time comes with a requirement. What is the requirement, especially in the context of Jewish history, is memory and witness. Now, before I look to the Parsha and a little bit of Midrash, I want to point out that today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Today is 81 years to the day since the liberation of Auschwitz. One of the things that we must recognize is that the way we remember things is also important to hold on to, which is to say, the Jewish calendar has a day on which we commemorate the Shoah. We call that Yom HaShoah. The international community, as of more recent times, has International Holocaust Remembrance Day on January 27th, the day 81 years ago that Auschwitz was liberated. What's the difference between Yom HaShoah on the Jewish calendar and International Holocaust Remembrance Day today on the Gregorian calendar? It's actually a very important question. What is the big difference between those two things? The liberation of Auschwitz was something that was done for the Jews as part of a global war. The liberation of Auschwitz is not something that we did, but Yom HaShoah commemorates something different. It commemorates the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, something that we did. We fought back. And so while it is important to commemorate and to encourage the world to hold on to this day, International Holocaust Remembrance Day, because it was a day where the world finally showed up, but far too late. And Yom HaShoah is a day where we became something different. We fought back. As Rosa just wrote, the big word that differentiates between the two is agency. There's a lot to say about this. Let's put it in the framework of Torah. And let's recognize that this moment that we are living, the day after Ran Gvili, the final hostage to return home for proper burial. That this day is a different kind of marker in time. To see Israelis and Jews all over the world take off our ribbons and our pins and our dog tags. Today at UJA, we're going to have a few ceremonies where those who would like will place their dog tags and ribbons and memory markers and solidarity markers that we have worn for 2.5 years for 843 days. Place them in receptacles either for the purpose of a communal project that UJA is helping lead all over New York, and some for the purpose of marking memory and the work that we have done as a staff here to hold our people together, to begin the healing even the hours after October 7th. And so what is this Parsha going to say to us about all of these different moments? Whereas Arlene, quoting Rachel Goldberg Polin and Rabbi Chana Yerushalmi, just wrote, yellow is a bright color again. Yellow is yellow again. And as Rachel Goldberg Polin prayed for long time ago and said on a video yesterday, tape is now tape again. Thank God. Well, in this week's Parsha, Parshat Beshalach, you might know that it's also called Shabbat Shirah, the Song of the Sea, because the sea is split this week. But in preparation for that, we had a promise that we made. Our ancestors promised it, and we are obligated to it. And that itself is very important for us to remember, that our ancestors' obligations actually obligate us too. That is a complicated way to live, but it is a gorgeous legacy to maintain. What is the promise of the ancestors I'm referring to? Let me read chapter 13, verse 19 of the book of Shemot, first in Hebrew and then in English. ויקח משה את עצמות יוסף עמו, כי השבע השביע את בני ישראל לאמור, פקוד יפקוד אלוהים אתכם, והעליתם את עצמותי מזה איתכם. Here's the English. Moses took with him the bones of Joseph, who had exacted an oath from the children of Israel, saying, God will be sure to take notice of you, then you shall carry up my bones from here with you. What does this mean? When Joseph died, he knew that he would be buried in Egypt. He was a statesman, the second to Pharaoh. And so he made his brothers promise, the children of Israel, literally, the children of Jacob, of Israel, Joseph's brothers, he made them promise to take his bones with them when they left. That is a promise that we make to our past, that we will carry it forward. Now, there's an ancient midrash which is beautiful to hear. That was 400 years before we left. Joseph made us promise to bring his bones, but the midrash said no one knew where he was buried. But there was one woman, an ancient woman who was somehow still alive. She is mentioned in the book of Genesis, and then she is mentioned in the liberation story in Shemot. And so we believe, or Midrash suggests, that she lived for hundreds of years, and her name was Serach bat Asher. Serach knew, alone knew, where Joseph's bones were buried. They were in a sarcophagus submerged in the Nile, and according to the Midrash in Masechet Sota and the Talmud, she told Moses where to go and what to say, and he said, I am here to fulfill my promise. And that's how he located the bones of Joseph. For us, friends, this means many things. Number one is, we don't leave anyone behind. Ran Gvili is home. They're all home now. It's a different moment. As Ran's mother and father both spoke with glory and pride about their son, and gratitude to the IDF Tetzahal for the work of fulfilling the promise that we don't leave anyone behind. We all feel the power of what Serach represents to the Midrash, what Joseph's bones represent in our conscience. We carry witness forward. Today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day, and as complicated as this is to say, friends, as complicated it is to say, we are blessed to still have witness, to have the glorious, beautiful human beings, our heroes, survivors of the Shoah. In New York today, I'm quoting my dear friend and teacher, the CEO of UJA, Eric Goldstein. In New York today, there are 13,000 survivors. Just a few years before COVID, there were approximately 45,000. In Israel, there are fewer than 100,000 survivors, down from 225,000 in 2017. In 5 years, we expect the current numbers will dwindle by at least half. 53%, friends, here in New York, 53% of the 13,000 survivors who live here live in or near poverty. We have an obligation to fulfill. I can't say just as, because there's no comparison between pains and between tragedies, but we know we are obligated, and UJA is active in this way, in a way no other organization in the world is, to support the survivors of October 7th and of Nova and their families, to support everyone whose mental health has been suffering from being direct survivors or emotional survivors or kindred souls, sisters and brothers, all of us. We all require this kind of oath fulfillment because it is a mindset that locates us in time. It reminds us, as Elie Wiesel, a famous Shoah survivor, taught us, that to be witness to a witness makes one a witness. Serach bat Asher lived for 400 years in the rabbinic imagination to make sure that we would know how to fulfill the promise we made. Well, we know how to fulfill this promise, to raise up the dignity of the survivors of the Shoah, who we are blessed to still have among us. And to those who are hearing this, all of us, we will be the last to hear direct testimony from survivors of the Shoah, and it is upon us to be the vessels through time, as Serach bat Asher was, to listen closely to their stories, to hear them, to go to them, to take care of them, to raise them up, and to know that their story is ours. It is an obligation, friends, for us to take this very seriously. Just as we know that Ron Gvili, a human being, our son, our brother, our protector, deserved dignity and the fulfillment of these promises, so too must we remember that we knew this lesson already, which is why we felt it so fiercely. We have always been obligated to fulfill these promises from ancient times, and when they are reborn in terrible moments, we are still obligated. We will always be obligated. And anyone who has ever been privileged to bear witness to a survivor is now a witness too. On International Holocaust Remembrance Day, we stand again in solidarity with all of the survivors of the Shoah. I remember in the early days after October 7th, it was the end of October of 2023, UJA sent the first rabbinic mission to Israel. I was privileged to be a part of it. And I sat, I will never forget this moment. I've shared it before. I will share it again. I sat with these rabbis and we heard from one of the most energetic people I have ever met, Rena Quint. You should know who she is. Look her up. A survivor of the Shoah. She is extraordinary. Tells her story not just with clarity, but with power and with love. She was talking to us and using the word survivor to describe people from Kibbutz Be'eri and Kfar Aza, and Nir Oz, and Nova. And as she finished speaking, our next speakers walked into the room. The next speakers were Rachel Goldberg Poland and Jonathan Poland. And I sat between these human beings, these shining exemplars of humanity, and an electric circuit coursed through me. All time collapsed. None of us who've been tuned in, friends, tuned in to these real moments of history will ever be the same. But of course we won't, and we shouldn't. The power of being witness, we learn from this parsha. The power of fulfilling an oath from the past, we learn from this parsha. We are obligated, friends, and we fulfill our promises. I invite you, friends, I invite you today to make every effort to sit with a Shoah survivor, to watch a documentary tonight. There's supposed to be a documentary aired about Elie Wiesel just now. Rosa shared on YouTube an interview with Rena Quint. You can look her up on YouTube. There are many, many interviews of her. And to understand that watching this is a fulfillment of an oath that we inherit and we make again. Let us make this oath right now. We will never forget, and we will never let anyone be left behind. As some of us take the ribbons and the dog tags today and place them in a geniza, in a historic holder, as some of us offer these tokens, these totems, into a process by which we will make memorialized art, all of this is a manifestation of the same promise that we learn from Yosef, our ancestor, from Moshe Rabbeinu, who made sure to bring Joseph's bones with him, from Serach bat Asher, who was the only one to speak the words of the past in a way that could make them true, just like Rena Quint, just like Rachel Goldberg Poland, just like Jonathan Poland, just like Tzahal, the IDF, who brought Ron Gvili home and sang Hatikva and sang Ani Ma'amin, I believe. We, friends, are living in a nexus of time. We are witness. I bless you. I bless you to understand the beauty of all this. It's not easy. It is beautiful. We are a precious people, and we love each other fiercely, and we don't leave anyone behind. Send your hearts to the east, friends. Let's sing. Kol hod balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefatei mizrach kadima ayin letzion tzofia od lo avda tikvateinu התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim, liot am chofshi be'artzeinu, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow, my friends.